Our minute has gone by and we are ready to begin. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this evening. Welcome to the open house for Prospect Primary School. Mrs. Painter, I just want to make sure that we are recording. We have that going?
Yes, Mrs. Richardson, it is recording.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so welcome to Prospect Primary's open house. We're glad to see all of you and we certainly wish you a happy new year. This is an interesting and exciting time for all of you as you consider the fact that it's time to release your little ones into the world of primary school, and as some children call it, big school. It's a big step for students, but certainly it's a big step for parents. And even in thinking about this evening, I had a little look at some videos just of, there's moments of thinking that you're releasing your little one. And it is a wonderful time of growth and exploration. And we are hopeful that we will be a part of that in your child's life. So our goals for this evening's open house is to present just some general information about Prospect Primary School, to also share information about curriculum, grading, health and safety protocols, just explain some expectations of students at Prospect Primary School, and to answer any questions that you might have about registration. You should have received this evening, this with your letter, you should have received a list of kind of frequently asked questions or a cheat sheet that should help you also as you start on this process for registration. This evening, we have some of our staff members with us, and Mrs. Painter and I are going to be guiding us through the presentation this evening. So just some of the ground rules. As you already know, your camera needs to be on. I do know that there's one person online who's not able to have their camera on, but they do have their name displayed. Your device needs to be named, keep your mic muted, record any questions that you have in the chat, and we'll certainly navigate those closer to the end. And if there's anyone who's not following the guidelines, they will be removed from the Zoom session. So the first thing that I want to do is allow us to have some team introductions. It's a little bit different. We usually do have a recording, but given these COVID times and the things that have happened over the last few days, we've had to make some accommodations. So our Prospect Primary School team, this is a picture of a bulletin board that we actually have in the foyer of the school. I know that you can't see everyone clearly, but for those who are online, I am going to have them introduce themselves. First of all, I'll say that my name is Holly Richardson. I am the principal of Prospect Primary School. I have been here, I believe it's since 2016. Previous to this, I was the principal at Port Royal Primary School for about, I believe it was about 12 years. I was also a deputy principal there. I'm an educator at heart. I love what I do. I love the students, and I love the problem solving that goes into helping us to make sure that we have the best for our young people. And I am excited to have our team with us today, and I'm going to ask Mrs. Painter if she would go next in introducing herself.
Good evening, parents. My name is Helen Painter. I am the deputy principal and P3 teacher at Prospect Primary. This is my 23rd year of teaching, and I actually began my teaching career at Prospect Primary. I look forward to working with you and your young person. I'll ask Ms. DeShield, Deanna DeShield, if she will next introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, future Prospect Primary School parents. My name is Deanna DeShield. I have been a teacher for 42 years, and I've been at Prospect for 21 years. I teach primary 6, and I am the literacy teacher leader.
Ms. Bean.
Good evening, parents. Happy New Year. My name is Timberlake Bean. I'm the primary 1 teacher at Prospect Primary. I have been at Prospect Primary for 26 years. I've taught P1 and P2. I love my job. I love my job. I love teaching primary 1. I love the excitement on their faces. I love their curiosity. And I'm so looking forward to having your children in my class if I'm in P1 next year. But Prospect Primary is a good place for a start for your child.
Ms. Rayner.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to you. I am the primary 2 teacher. This is my 16th year at Prospect Primary. Before I became a teacher, I was a paraeducator for 4 years at Elliott Primary School. I have taught in primary 2, primary 3, primary 4, primary 6, and now I am back where I started in primary 2. And this is my first year back in primary 2, and I'm very excited and looking forward to seeing your little ones in the future. Have a good evening.
Can I get Miss Scott and then Miss Debbie Smith to introduce themselves, please? I'm just using my screen.
Good evening. My name is Donna Scott. I've been in the system about 18 years as a paraeducator. I've been at Prospect. I'm going into my 4th year, I think. Time's going by too fast. And I enjoy working in the ASD classroom. And I enjoy working at Prospect. Enjoy your evening.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Debbie Smith, and I've been teaching for 26 years. Prospect Primary is my alma mater, so therefore I am very passionate about each student that comes through, trying to keep the standards high. I am a P4 teacher, and I've taught in P2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. However, I haven't taught in P1, and I don't want to teach in P1. That takes a very special person. So Ms. Bean, my hat goes off to you. You are in good hands. Your child is in good hands. We care about our children. Welcome to Prospect Primary if you're coming, and for those who are thinking about it, good choice.
Can I ask Mrs. Douglas Tucker, Mr. O'Connor, and then Mrs. Lightbourne in that order?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Veronica Douglas Tucker. I've been at Prospect Primary going on 5 years, and the same amount of years I've been in the system. I really love working in the ASD classroom, along with doing whatever else is needed at Prospect Primary School. To the new parents and students, welcome to Prospect Primary, and we can't wait to see you in September.
Good evening, parents, future parents of Prospect Primary students. I am Cecil O'Connor. I'm in my 15th year of teaching. I've taught P1, P2, P3, P4, and now I'm in P5, and I'm really excited. I love the lower school, but I had a change this last year, and I'm P5. And I thoroughly enjoy it. And I look forward to seeing your little ones in September. Have a wonderful and blessed evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kendra Lightbourne. I am a learning support teacher. I teach the Busy Bees, or the functional skills class at Prospect Primary. I have been in the system for 21 years. But this is my first year in primary school, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. I look forward to seeing all of your babies in September.
Can I please have Miss Hayward and then Miss Baston and Miss Simons to introduce yourselves?
Good evening, my name is Erica Baston. I am a paraeducator in the Superheroes class, the ASD program. I've been in the system for 6 years. I've been at Prospect for 5 years. And for the new students that are coming, welcome.
Okay. Mrs. Hayward, and then Mrs. Simons.
I'm having some issues here. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. I'm Miss Hayward, the school counselor. Sorry about that. I have been a school counselor for over 10 years. I left the system a few years ago, and I'm actually new back at Prospect Primary. My first year as of 2021, enjoying it thus far, looking forward to working with all our kids. I'm also the counselor at Prospect Preschool, so for some parents who perhaps have their kids over there, they may have met me already. All righty, good to see you and have a good night.
Ms. Simons, you need to unmute yourself.
My apologies. My apologies for the quality of my video. I'm working on that. My name is Sandra Simons. I have been in the public education system for 19 years. I've spent the majority of my years in middle school, and I am the reading teacher, and teaching reading is my passion, whether it's to 2-year-old or a 92-year-old. I absolutely love to teach reading, and I look forward to working with your babies. Welcome.
And finally, I'm going to ask Ms. Deb DeShields and then Mrs. Miriam Smith to introduce themselves.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deborah DeShields. I am the P3 para. I have been in education for 21 years, and I really enjoy working with children. I have been from middle school to alternative school, to special needs, and I really enjoy being at Prospect, my alma mater.
Unmute Mrs. Smith.
Muted. Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. My name's Miriam Smith. I've been a Prospect for a very long time. And I'm PE teacher, science teacher, leader. I, like some other teachers have said, love my profession, love to teach. Looking forward to seeing you. I recognize some names. So this is like grandchildren. Welcome to Prospect. Looking forward maybe to seeing you in September. Have a good night. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Prospect staff. I'll turn it back to Mrs. Richardson.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. And I know that took a little while, but that's technology. So we look forward to working with you as we move into the new school year. We are going to continue our presentation right now. Ms. Painter is going to share a little bit about our school history. And following that, we are going to then move into just what some of our school activities look like, as well as talking about the curriculum and standards-based grading. So Ms. Painter, you can go right ahead. And let me know when to advance this.
Sure. Next slide. Prospect Primary opened in September 1958 under the leadership of Mrs. Mildred Painter. This was an amalgamation of seven schools, which made up the Pembroke Infant School and pupils from the Central School, which is now Victor Scott. In 1958, the school opened in the barrack rooms from the British garrison at the Prospect site near Cedar Bridge Academy. It had very large, airy classrooms and very quickly was filled. In 1973, a new school facility was built on the Friendship Lane, now Old Military Road. Mr. Cleveland Critchlow was the principal involved in that process. Believe it or not, Prospect Primary is the youngest primary school in the Bermuda public school system at the ripe age of 48 years old. Here are some of the former principals of Prospect Primary, beginning with Mildred Williams, then Cora Scott Gale, Cleveland Critchlow, Esme Swan, Martha Francis, Marva Outerbridge, Dorothy Trott, O'Brien Osborne, Dr. Shangri-La Durham Thompson, and our current and wonderful principal, Mrs. Holly R. Richardson. The original school colors at Prospect Primary were green, blue, red, and yellow. Today, however, in order to accommodate the current population, we just have blue and yellow house. The school motto originally was "Seek Wisdom." Currently, it is, "If it's to be, it's up to me." Prospect Primary currently has 85 students in 8 classrooms, P1 through P6. We also have an autism spectrum disorder classroom that is multi-aged. We have a functional skills classroom that is multi-aged. Prospect Primary has specialist teachers in art, music, reading, guidance, and behavior. And we have support teachers in both lower and upper primary classes who assist with academic interventions.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Painter. And just to elaborate a little bit on this slide, because when people do see that we have 85 students with lots of staff members, because we have altogether, including our administrative staff, probably about 28 staff members. One of the things that is special about Prospect Primary is that we are the only primary school in Bermuda that has the 2 specialist classrooms for the ASD as well as for the functional skills. Those are 2 specialist classrooms which require additional staffing because of the needs of those students. So we are proud of that, and we are happy that those programs and those students can grow and develop at our school. I just wanted to go over, just because school is, yes, meant to be an academic place, and we are going to talk a little bit about academics in a few moments, but we also try to incorporate lots of activities that help our students to be able to bring their learning to life. COVID has been especially not only challenging, but causing us to challenge ourselves in order to think about new ways to help our students to have a good primary school experience. And that's certainly still a work in progress. So just some of our activities, we do have pajama read-in days. This is connected to our literacy month. We also celebrate the 100th day of school, which usually falls around February. In this picture, you can see that many of our lower school students dressed up with what they thought they would look like in many years to come. We have our sports days with our competition between our Girl House as well as our Blue House. And we also celebrate Black History Month, which we have done trying to make sure that we have a focus on Bermuda as well. We have a cross-country event, which normally happens this month during January. All of our students to participate in that. We try to also have a Christmas production to allow our students to be able to use their gifts and talents with acting and singing and dancing, which they of course always enjoy. We had career days, which allow our students to explore careers that they might be interested in the future. We have end of year, not just end of term, but also we have weekly celebrations of our students who actually meet expectations at school as far as their behavior and academics are concerned, as well as those who are certainly putting in a great effort into their studies. And this was our most recent celebration in December. And we had to, of course, observe COVID protocols, but the students got to decorate their own cupcake during the end of the school year, and they enjoyed doing that together. I think this is going to play. This was another activity that we did at the end of the school term.
The sun goes down on my side of town. That lonesome feeling comes to my door. The whole world turns.
So we're thinking that we need to have a dance group because we had so many students in P6 who were boys and girls, as you can see, as well as some staff members. I wonder who that is at the back on the left-hand side, but I'll leave that one alone, who were interested in that. And so we had a whole week of spirit activities at the end of last term, and the students loved being able to dance with the staff.
The sun goes down.
We also celebrated the Disabilities Day. And so this was a day at the end of last school term, and we were able to celebrate students as they came by from Dame Marjorie B. and Hope Academy. I can say in our functional skills, because you saw the children there from our autism classroom as well as our functional skills classroom, we do have only boys in those classrooms right now, which is an interesting concept for both of those classes, but we have had girls in there as well. So just a little bit about the curriculum that is used currently in the primary schools. The Bermuda Public School System uses the Cambridge International Curriculum for mathematics, literacy, and science. And the Cambridge curriculum is something that goes throughout the school years, not just in the primary years, but is used in middle school as well as senior school. There is a graduation requirement that every student in the Bermuda Public School System needs to get their IGCSE in mathematics, literacy, and science. And the work in order for them to achieve that goal when they do reach the senior school starts right here in primary school at the primary 1 level, where we're using the Cambridge curriculum for those subjects. In addition to math, literacy, and science, we use various local and overseas curricula for other subjects, because we do have social studies, which we have a local curriculum for. We have IT curriculum that we're using. We have health, and we also have some additional specialist subjects that we're able to offer. We have art, we have music, and for our primary 5 students, and it's not always the same in all schools, it's offered to all schools, but it's not always the primary 5 level. There's also a coding session that they do when they get into their primary 5 year, which is done by a local company called Connect Tech. We also are using a curriculum that helps with social emotional development, which is called PATHS, PATHS. And that is a program that we are used and sponsored by Pride for that program as well. So there are many curricula that are used in order to help your children to grow, not just academically, but socially. And I can say also that our school counselor has her own curriculum that she is using for social emotional development of our students as well. And Mrs. Painter is going to tell you a little bit about standards-based grading or standards-based learning.
Okay, next slide. The standards-based grading is a measurement of student proficiency in a subject against a defined course objective. The overall objective is to have consistency in grading practices across every school system-wide. The aim is also to give greater attention to the meaning of student grades, both for students and their parents. In this way, grades are not reflective of effort or popularity or personality. The grades indicate what the student was able to demonstrate. Next slide. Throughout your time here at Prospect Primary, you will see grading of a 0 through 4 on the gradebook reports. And when you see these numbers on the grade report, here is a way for you to interpret them. A number 1 really means your child is starting to learn the concept, and with some help, they can do the concepts that are taught. If you see a level 2, it means that your child is starting to understand and is able to do most of what they have been taught, but may need some help. When you see a number 3, the level 3 reflects your child's understanding of, I can do it by myself. I know and can do everything that was taught with little or no mistake. And if you see a level 4, that means your child is working at a higher level. That means that they know the material well enough that they may be able to teach a peer. Throughout the year, students are given multiple opportunities to show their knowledge. It must be noted that students are expected to be at a level 3 by the end of the academic year, meaning June. This means that they have mastered the concept or the objective. We look forward to sharing more about standard-based grading when you come to Prospect Primary. Unmute yourself, Mrs. Richardson.
Sorry, just wanted to go into expectations a little bit at school and just talk a little bit about our 4 core expectations, which are be respectful, be responsible, be safe, and be ready to learn. There are other classroom rules that teachers may add to those rules, but these are the 4 core expectations that we share with our students through all of the years in primary school. In addition to that, these 4 expectations are 4 core expectations that were adopted by the Bermuda public school system of several years ago. So they should carry on through the years as you move up through middle and senior school. Now, I know that there is some transformation happening right now. There are going to be some changes, and we will learn more about how these things will carry out as we move on and as we move to signature schools in the future. We also have what are called reach goals that our students are evaluated on, I can say, or they are measured on each week. And we have students who are recognized for demonstrating the 4 core expectations and also reaching their reach goals, which talk about effort and responsibility and making sure that they are working very hard. We are in COVID times, and COVID has caused us to have to really reinforce some practices that are just very good practices at any time. But we want to make sure that you know that your children are safe when they do come to school. Mask wearing is required for all students at this very time because we have moved to phase 2 of the COVID regulations. When we're in phase 1 or 2, all students from P1 right on through senior school have to wear their mask at all times while they're in the school building. Once we move to phase 3, then that mask wearing internally is required only for P4 and up. When children go outside to play, they're not required to wear their mask, but they do have to do that while they're in the building, and especially when they're less than 6 feet apart. There is hand washing that happens, and we've made that a part of our regular school day as well to build in those hand washing, I guess I'll call them opportunities before each time that students do eat or when they're coming back in from playtime to ensure that cleanliness is happening with our students. Temperature checks do happen when students come to school in the morning. And while we're in phase 1 and 2, we also are required to ask those 4 core questions of parents to ensure that our schools can stay as safe as possible. We, of course, encourage physical distancing, and all of our guidance is done between the Department of Education and the Department of Health. And the Department of Health have written out the protocols, which were published last August, and they're available on the Ministry of Education website for you to have a look at. They were reviewed over last summer so that we would have them for this school year that we're in right now. So I'm sure that they will be fully reviewed again next year as well. So those are just some of the things that I wanted to talk about with health and safety. While children are here in classrooms, teachers are quite vigilant about ensuring that children are not sharing materials or that they're cleaning between when they do need to share, and encouraging students to make sure that they're wearing the mask and washing. We are also very vigilant also about children being in school when they're not well, and we're always encouraging parents if the children are not well to keep them at home so that we can keep our classrooms open as long as possible. Saliva testing is something that the Ministry of Education has introduced for our school, and our school is actually on a weekly saliva testing rotation. So we get tested every Thursday, and that it is up to parents to sign their children up for the testing program. And then it happens at school and the results are sent to you each week. Just a little bit about a typical school day. School days at Prospect Primary begin at 8:30. When children come, they are dropped off. We go through the COVID procedures, and then there's registration. We get children in by 8:45 because we want to begin our teaching and learning at 8:45. There are 2 main breaks that children have throughout the day. They have a recess break at about 10:15, and then they have an eating as well as a play break at 12 noon. During that break, that 60 minutes is broken up where they have 15 minutes to eat and then 45 minutes for outside play. We also encourage staff in their classes to give children stretch and relax breaks as needed throughout the day. The end of the school day for primary 1 and primary 2 is at 3 p.m. and for all other classes it's at 3:30. We do currently have an after school program which is run by the Department of Youth and Sport that starts at 3:30 at the end of the school day. So for any P1 and P2 child who is part of the after-school program, we do supervise them until the after-school program begins later on in the day. And just as we're closing up a little bit with this general information session about Prospect Primary School, I thought that I would share our school song with you, which actually has some clips. They are from a couple of years ago, but some clips of our classroom.
You booked a sunny Verbo ski chalet with endless views of snow-covered peaks.
Perseverance is our motto, resolve to conquer wrong. Obedience to our elders, so character grows strong. Progressing with our learning, enlightenment is our aim.
Sorry, but I don't see it. Am I the only one?
Upward to keep our school's good name.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that. I thought that it was. Okay, let me see. Sorry. Thank you, Ms. Bean.
You may have to open the song in a different page because the link doesn't seem to be working.
Okay, hang on 1 second. I'm very sorry. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Perseverance is our motto, resolve to conquer wrong. Obedience to our elders, so character grows strong. Progressing with our learning, enlightenment is our aim. Climbing ever upward to keep our school's good name. Politeness is our watchword, rejecting no regrets. In these our isles of beauty, majestic isles of rest. Aim high and never falter, reach out ambitiously. Your school will be proud of you wherever you may be. So squarely face your future, courageous, brave, and true. Happy in the knowledge our school is helping you. Oh, may success go with you. Look up and strive for roles. We're proud and ever loyal at Prospect Primary School.
Okay. All right, everyone. So this is, we're very close to the end of our presentation. I will open the floor for any questions that persons might have. I did want to say I did receive a question on the sheet that I got from the department for signups that just asked whether or not there are options available for kids in the autism spectrum. And we did talk about the ASD classroom that we do have here. There are ASD classrooms in 3 primary schools in Bermuda. Our lead teacher is Miss Tamisha Simons in that classroom. As I said, we do have all boys in there right now. And the range of those boys is right from primary 1 up to primary 5 at this time. The programs that we have for children who are both in the autism classroom as well as the functional skills classroom are very much tailored towards each of those students because they are all in different places. And so therefore the program will not look the same for everyone. There will also always be some literacy component, some mathematics component, and science and social studies that are tailored for those students. But in addition to that, there are social and emotional skills that those students need to develop that our teachers spend some time working with those students on as well. So I hope that answers that question. Are there any other questions that people have that they would like to ask at this time?
Yes, please, Ms. Richardson. I had a quick question. I wanted to know who I would have to address any questions about my son's application to Prospect, considering our address, please.
Okay, so any questions about your application would then go to Jackie E. She is the attendance coordinator at the Department of Education. I believe her address, yes, there is an email address on the extra sheet that was sent out with the meeting invite today, and it's registration@moed.bm. She's very good about answering any emails that come in as well. Registration is a little bit different, I'll have to admit, this school year because it's come up a lot sooner. And it looks like it's going to be open for a longer period of time for parents to get the registration in, but certainly Ms. E will be able to answer any questions that you have about registration for your child.
I thank you for that. I was concerned about our address because my husband is an alumni of Prospect. So because of that, because of the teachers, because of the curriculum, obviously, we really would love for him to attend as well. But I think we may have some issues with the boundary and the way that it is set now. And I just had a question regarding that because, of course, my husband was able to attend, but we were unsure whether or not that would mean my son now couldn't.
Okay, all right. I don't want you to have to share your address online, but if you want to give a call tomorrow to me and I can just have a look at your address and we can chat a little bit about that. You can sometimes request, you can always, and it doesn't matter, you can always make special requests at the Department of Education, and they, the answer can be a yes or a no. That's it. Just always don't ever give up because the paper says whatever. If you have a question about something, you have a reason and a rationale why, then yes, you need to just make it known. And these decisions are made at the Department of Education. There is a little bit of a difference for students who actually fall into the classroom for the autism and the functional skills because they do not have to live in this zone. They are placed by the learning support officers in the Department of Education, and that's based on what they see as not their students' needs, but also where those needs can best be met.
Thank you for that, Ms. Richardson. Yes, ma'am, I am not going to give up. We are pretty adamant about Prospect. So I will definitely give you a call tomorrow. Thank you so much for your
Okay. All right, no problem. All right, is there anyone else who has a question? All right. Well, if there are no further questions, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking your time out to spend it with us this evening. If you do have any questions that come up, feel free to send an email or give a call to the school. Ms. Tavares did send out the invite today. So if you write back to her and let her know that you want her to pass it on to me, she'll do that. Or if you remember my email address now, it's hrichardson@moed.bm. Okay. So thank you, everyone. And we hope that you do have a wonderful new year and enjoy the weekend that's coming up. Thanks for joining.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Okay.
You as well.
Good evening.
Have a good evening, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
And happy